Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III. I am your host. I hope you're having a good day. Let's start out today with the Daily Mastermind mobile app quote of the day. The quote of the day is from Steve Harvey. I always love his quotes. And the quote is, "No matter what happens to you, it ain't over." No matter what happens to you, it ain't over. So how's your week going so far? Are you attacking your goals? Are you kicking butt, taking names, or are you just dealing with the same old issues? Are you feeling like maybe you're stuck, or are you on track to get things going? You know, I'm finding more often than not that most people are cycling through the same types of problems. I know I have been. And these problems are almost entirely struggles that you have in your mind. They're struggles that you continue to have over and over. Now, sure, there are struggles and obstacles in life, but most of them, and that are outside your control, but most of them involve our minds, or at least a perspective that we have of situations. So what I want to do this week, I want to do some things specifically on hacks for the mind, because I feel like the daily battle with your mind is the battle that you have to learn to win if you're going to live your best life. So recently I've had to deal with some super challenging situations personally, and I've found myself looking back to mentors and lessons that I've learned for advice and counsel over the years, different answers that I've come up with. And so I want to share some of those with you throughout this week. So what I would suggest is let me do a little bit of legwork and offer you some perspective, ideas, tips, tricks that have kind of worked for me, for you to be able to use for battling with your mind on a day-to-day basis. So now when I start struggling a bit, there are some certain mentors that I go straight to based on what I know helps me, cope with situations and get a better perspective, and also get on top of the situations in my life. And David Goggins is right there at the top of the list. So I'm going to start with him today and give you some really cool stuff that I've learned from him. So for those of you that don't know David Goggins, I'm not going to go into a lot of background, but he's written several books. He's been all over social media recently, but he was like 297 pounds, had to lose 100 pounds just to be able to get into the military. And he's the only man that's gone through 3 branches of the military boot camp, including Navy SEALs. And he's run ultra marathons and on and on and on. But this is a guy who has really developed the ability to get past his mind into a situation where he can find his best. And one of the key things that he talks about is that most people live in the 40% of their best life range. Meaning, in other words, most people quit at 40% when they have so much more to give. They quit on their businesses, their fitness goals, and their relationships. They quit on everything when they get to about 40%. And, David says that it's like he gives a great analogy because it's like a car that has a governor on it. If you've ever driven a car, like a rental car or something like that, where they put a governor on it so you can't go past a certain speed, it's kind of interesting because the car can certainly go faster. And if you're in my car, it definitely goes faster. But the governor is put there from the factory to slow the car down. So no matter how much you want to go above a certain speed, that governor outside your control is there to hold you back. And this is sort of a great analogy for what our brain does to us when we start to encounter difficulty in our lives. You see, our brains are designed to keep us safe, comfortable, out of difficult situations. So it sends us signals that make us want to quit. It makes us want to slow down or walk away or stay safe or be comfortable. And the problem is that usually our minds quit at about 40% of our potential. This is what David Goggins is talking about. Now, I find this really crazy because our minds are our greatest tool to be able to create our best life. But our brains are also our greatest weakness, our greatest enemy. And to make it worse, our minds know all of our dang weaknesses, and they know the language that it's going to put in your head to make you slow down, doubt your abilities, lower your self-confidence, create fear, and basically make you quit. Because your mind knows you better than anyone and anything in your life. But guess what? Here's the thing. Believe it or not, you control your mind. You are the driver of this incredible tool. You are not your mind. So many of us get caught up in these thoughts and we think, these thoughts are us, but they're not. You are the driver of your mind. The key is not to let go of the steering wheel, not to let go of that control, because that's what most of us do. We let our minds just do whatever they want to do and shut us down, and we quit at 40%. And when you let go of the wheel of your mind and you let your mind wander enough times, you start to form habits of giving up or being lazy or settling for less. You convince yourself that, this is the safe route, the comfortable route. And ultimately, you settle for a mediocre life at 40%. You start to coast through life. How many of you feel like you might just sort of be going through the motions most days, or you're just coasting through life? You're waiting for a break in the storm. You're waiting for something to change. You're waiting for this. You're waiting for that. You should do this. You should do that. Well, the bottom line is you have the answers. You have the answers inside you. So why does this happen? Why do we settle? Why do we give up on our relationships? Why do we give up on our businesses? Why do we give up on things in life that we know we can persevere? Well, basically, it's because we crave comfort. And many times we don't see solutions to fix the problem, so we just decide we're going to quit. But this is when listen to me really closely now. This is when we really need to look to give ourselves the most hope, right at that point that we normally quit, because you do have the answers. The irony is that the answers just lie on the other side of making the decision to not quit. They lie on the other side of the 40% mark. That 40% mark is usually where we quit, right before we have the answers. So the key is what I've always talked about in prosperity principle number 3, which says, I act in spite of my mood. It's not all the time I'm acting great. It's I act in spite of my mood, especially when your mood is not good. None of us wants to get up and go to the gym in the morning. None of us want to, set feelings aside and ego aside and work through a challenging relationship. None of us want to get to work building a business when we've spent a long, strenuous day at our job, right? So the truth is, though, it's only at the 40% level that David Goggins says we truly create the new habits and we find new solutions. It's at that point that the brain learns to be creative, not before. It's not when you're feeling great that you establish new habits and you get the brain to be creative. It's when you're in the moment. So you see, the best life that you have, it always lies inside the pain. It lies inside uncomfort, past the 40% mark. You've got to really understand this, because your solutions are only going to come to you when you're experiencing the difficulties. Because your brain, your mind, the brain, it's very resourceful, but it's also very tricky. It knows your weaknesses. It steers you toward comfort. It tells you, it's better to go back to bed. You deserve a little bit more sleep. You could start on Monday instead of over the weekend. You've been working really hard. You deserve to have some pity or some help. Give up and we'll find a better opportunity or a better relationship or a better business or a better game plan. Your brain is constantly working against you. But when you realize that your brain can also work for you, when you tell yourself, I'm not going to quit, when you hit that point, because when you tell yourself, I'm going to quit, immediately your brain shuts down, so you're not going to have any solutions. It wants to quit. It wants the easy way out. But don't let it control you. You control your mind. This is when you need to tell yourself, I am never, ever, ever going to give up. Tell yourself that. And tell yourself you have no choice but to succeed. Burn the bridges, burn the ships. Your brain will go to work when you do this, finding a solution. Because in survival mode, your brain is very resourceful and very creative. It'll look for the answers and it'll help you to be creative. Eric Thomas says, he's that famous kind of viral video where he says, when you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, that's when you'll be successful. And I never quite understood that. I always basically thought, yeah, you got to want it really bad. But listen to what he said. When you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, that's when you will be successful. That is when you have to find a solution to be successful. Stop worrying about finding solutions to the problem and start just focusing. These are little subtle shifts. Start focusing on not giving up and let your brain go to work. start focusing on not giving up. This is going to be your daily battle with your mind. You can develop this habit, I promise you. You can do this and just accept the fact that you'll be battling your mind most of your life, but turn it into a challenge, make it a game. And this is where it really becomes fun, more productive, more fulfilling, and more successful. You see, we've been searching most of our lives for happiness and fulfillment in the wrong place. We spend our lives wanting happiness and perfect moments and the perfect shot on Instagram, looking for places of comfort and easy paths. I know I have, and I'm sure you have. But David Goggins makes an amazing point because he emphasizes that you're not going to find happiness, you're not going to find toughness and resilience and fulfillment in a comfortable environment. That's why he challenges himself every single day, all the time, in everything he does. He looks forward to being uncomfortable because this is where you find your greatest happiness and your greatest rewards. Learn to love the challenge. See, science has shown us that you actually get small dopamine hits, these chemicals that bring you joy, right, with the small accomplishments. When you overcome a challenge, when you lose a couple of pounds, you don't have to be completely at your goal weight to get that dopamine hit. You're going to get it along the way. So when you shift your focus and recognize that, and you're not giving up on your business, you're not giving up on your relationship, you're making progress, then you're going to get that satisfaction. You don't need to get to the end goal to experience the fulfilling emotions. That dopamine hit that you want and you desire can be there along the way. Goggins also talks about how victory lies inside the smallest of steps, the smallest of accomplishments. You know, you're gonna truly experience your best life and emotions by simply choosing to place yourself in the battle. Place yourself inside discomfort. Place yourself past the 40% mark. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can do this. I'll give you a few suggestions because we're kind of short on time. But visualize what you'll feel like once you're past that point. Visualize the end goal. Visualize where you're going to be and start to really clearly feel those emotions, because those emotions are what you're looking for, remember? And you can feel those if you visualize them. And the key is to use your mind to feel it, right? And then learn to disconnect from the external needs of fulfillment. You got to realize that it's not stuff outside you that's going to make you feel fulfilled. Fulfillment, happiness, those are feelings, those are emotions that only come inside you. So you've got to learn and accept the fact that it's internal. And know that the most fulfillment truly comes from emotions you experience in those little moments. That's why they say it's the little moments in life that count. Don't get to the end of the road, the end of your life, and look back wishing you had paid attention to the little moments. You know, here's a couple other really good ones I do. Find a person or thing in your life that drives you to prove something. That, you know, maybe you're the kind of person that wants to have positive motivation. Maybe you're the kind of person that wants to have competition. Or maybe you do what Goggins and a few others do and use past failures to drive you, to prove to yourself you're not that person anymore. Just remember this. It's like Ed Milet talks about a lot because he's really into fitness like I am. One more rep. One more rep. Now, you used to think of that as being, well, I'm going to give it one more effort. But remember, it's in the last rep that you set new habits, that you change, that you get creative, that you go the extra mile. It's a perfect example of being at the 40% mark and pushing through to your greatness. Now, also you have to realize that you don't need a trainer, a coach, or tools. You have the tools already. Don't use excuses. Your mind, it creates the problems, but it also has the power to overcome the problems. I've spent most of my life searching for this fulfillment and happiness and joy in all of the rewards and successes. And what I've learned is that ultimately we're all just seeking the emotions that various accomplishments or things will give us. And the secret is that we can experience those exact emotions right now, in the moment, along the way, in overcoming these small challenges, not just the end goals. Visualize the small wins, recognize and appreciate the small wins. Learn to live beyond your 40%. Learn to live in the gaps that most people ignore. Learn to never quit on your relationships, your business, your fitness goals, your desires. Learn to battle your mind daily. See it as an exercise every day in uncovering your greatness. Look forward to the battle. Make it a game. Find ways to challenge yourself so that you can ultimately live your life that you're capable of living past the 40% mark to your true potential. Your brain will help you find the tools to solve your problems. Your thoughts do create your life, and you are the one that steers your ship, your mind. So let's start challenging ourselves more and more this week to become the best versions of ourselves and learn to live and love inside the uncomfortable situations. I hope that's something that can give you some food for thought. I hope you'll have an amazing week this week. I look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. And as I mentioned again, refer this to a friend. Help us spread the message for people that might be struggling. My name is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a great day.